Leprechaun is a 1993 American horror comedy. It was written and directed by Mark Jones. It's basically about this guy named Daniel O'Grady, played by Shay Duffin. He goes on this business trip or some kind of trip to Ireland. For some reason, he went to Ireland, and while he was there, he encountered this leprechaun, played by Warwick Davis. And he basically forces the leprechaun to tell him where the gold is. But then when he comes back home to America, North Dakota to be more specific, the leprechaun reveals himself to Daniel O'Grady, and he kills Daniel's wife by making her fall down the stairs. Daniel O'Grady's wife is played by Pamela Mant. He makes her fall down the stairs, and then Daniel O'Grady figures out a way to trap him in the house. He makes the leprechaun get inside this giant wooden crate, and he puts a 4-leaf clover on top of the crate, and then when he tries to set the leprechaun on fire, he ends up having a stroke. And this all takes place in January 1983. So the leprechaun is basically trapped in the crate now, and he can't get out because the clover is what's keeping him in there. 10 years go by, and this new family moves into the O'Grady farm. The Redding family. Tori Redding, played by Jennifer Aniston, and her father, J.D. Redding, he's played by John Sanderford. But anyway, they move in and they meet the people that live next door to them. One guy's name is Nathan Murphy, played by Ken Olant, and Mark Holton plays Ozzie Jones. Robert Gorman plays Alex Murphy. Ozzy is this guy that's mentally retarded. He basically has the mind of a child. And he believes in UFOs, rainbows, and just childish things. But as I said, it's 10 years later, and the leprechaun is still down there trapped in the crate. And the leprechaun finds a way to lure Ozzy down there, and he disguises his voice. And he says, "Can you please let me out of the crate, please?" And Ozzy's kind of slow, so he thinks that there's really a child trapped in the crate. So he goes to put his ear up to the crate to see if he can hear what's going on. And he knocks the 4-leaf clover off the crate, and that allows the leprechaun to escape. Once he escapes, he asks Ozzy if he's seen the gold. And Ozzy tells him, "No, I haven't seen the gold." And then the leprechaun's like, "Tell me or I'll bite your ear off." And Ozzy goes to tell Nathan and Alex and Tori, but they don't believe him. And that's only natural, because who would believe that you saw a leprechaun? They go back in the house, they try to look for the leprechaun. The leprechaun makes himself scarce. They come back outside, and then Tori, played by Jennifer Aniston, feels something rubbing her leg. So she thinks that it's Nathan doing it, and then we find out that it was actually the leprechaun. But the leprechaun makes himself sound like a cat, and then he bites Tori's dad, and Tori's dad ends up having to go to the hospital. As the day goes on, the leprechaun tries to search for his gold, but Alex and Ozzy find it first. And they split it with each other, but then they decide to get it appraised and see if it's real. And they find out that it is real, but the leprechaun kills the guy that has the gold coin. He jumps up and down on his chest with a pogo stick. He's like, I'm going to play! Do you want to play with me? And he's like, you should never steal a leprechaun's gold. And he just keeps pointing out the fact that he's a leprechaun. You know, and I'm like, bro, we're looking right at you. We know you're a leprechaun because you look like a leprechaun. It's kind of hard to miss. He kills the guy in the pawn shop or whatever kind of shop that is. The rest of the people are at the restaurant eating and they go back home. Then, this is where things get interesting. The leprechaun takes this toy car, does something magical to it, and he gives it the ability to take on the characteristics of an actual car. And it actually moves like a car and everything. And when he's driving, he gets pulled over by a cop. Now this is the part that's kind of stupid. Really? Really? You actually pull a leprechaun over, and then you say, well, how old are you? And he says, I'm 600 years old. What was the point of that scene? He chases the cop into the woods and he kills him. Some scenes in this movie are so pathetic. He goes back to the Redding farm, which used to be the O'Grady farm, but anyway, he goes back there. He finds out that Alex and Ozzy have the gold. So he tortures the family until they give him the gold. And I forgot to mention that he killed the cop by snapping his neck. But getting back to what I said, he tortures Tori's family. He ends up injuring Nathan. And eventually they give him the gold. But what he doesn't know is that Ozzy, played by Mark Holton, Ozzy swallowed the coin. So then he tries to get it from Ozzy. He says, it's your belly I'll be wanting. They throw shoes at him to distract him because the leprechaun is a shoemaker. So while they're doing that, Tori races to the hospital to find Daniel O'Grady because he had a stroke. And Daniel basically tells him that there's a clover patch beside the house and you need to place it on the leprechaun's body. Shortly after telling that, he dies because the leprechaun already got to him. The leprechaun chases Tori throughout the hospital and he's like using this wheelchair. I don't know how he got it to go so fast. He probably used his powers again. Tori manages to escape and she gets back to the farm. Tells the others what she learned about the leprechaun. That you have to put the clover on his body. And Ozzy tells her you can only do it if you believe in magic. And she's getting frustrated at this point. And I don't know why she would get frustrated. I mean, he's mentally retarded. What does she expect? I don't get that part of the movie. Like, what else would you expect from a retarded person? They have a childlike mentality. So that part made no sense at all. She eventually finds the four-leaf clover. And Alex, played by Robert Gorman, he takes the four-leaf clover, attaches it to a piece of gum, and he takes a slingshot and shoots it directly into the leprechaun's mouth. And when I went to Wikipedia, I read something very interesting. It says that they pour the gasoline onto the well, blowing up the well and killing the leprechaun. And the police arrive and Tori is reunited with her father. The leprechaun vows that he won't rest until he finds the last piece of his gold. Now here's what I don't get. If they did kill the leprechaun, how the hell is there a part 2? How did he come back in the second one? So that makes no sense. You either kill something or you don't. so it's obvious that they didn't kill him. And the one thing that I hate about this franchise is that it lacks continuity. It doesn't mention its predecessors, it doesn't mention the characters that came before it. This film lacks all kinds of continuity. There's no continuity at all, with the exception that in every movie the Leprechaun wants his gold. That's kind of stupid, but whatever. The Leprechaun's dead for now, and he cursed the well where he died. Leprechaun 2 is coming up next. The series of reviews will be leading to the new film, Leprechaun Origins. I'm the Michael Myers fanatic. I approve this message. Leprechaun from 1993. It was released January 8th, 1993 to be exact. Thanks for listening. Bye. Stay tuned for my review of Leprechaun 2. And it has nothing to do with the people before it or the storyline before it. I don't get this franchise, but whatever. Bye.